Introduction: The Warrior Within. Have you ever felt the weight of the world pressing down on you? Like a battle raging within. Some days, you conquer. Other days, it feels like life has knocked you down so hard. You don't know if you'll ever get back up. Yet here you are. Still standing. Still breathing. Have you ever stopped to wonder why? You see, life isn't about never falling. It's about finding the strength to rise, again and again. Every time you stumble. Every time you fail. The world whispers a question: will you give up? Or will you grow stronger? This is not a story about perfection. It's about resilience. It's about turning pain into purpose. Fear into courage. And failure into fuel for the journey ahead. It's about discovering the warrior within you, not the kind that fights external battles, but the one who dares to confront the most difficult adversary of all, yourself. Today, we'll explore the timeless wisdom of those who have walked this path before us, warriors, monks, teachers, who have found clarity in the chaos and purpose in the struggle. This is your moment to step into their footsteps and uncover your own strength. So, ask yourself, are you ready to stop running from your battles and start facing them head-on? Because within every challenge lies the seed of transformation, waiting for you to rise. Part 1. The difference between a soldier and a warrior. In every corner of the world, people rise each day and march into the routines of life. They follow rules, meet deadlines, and fulfill responsibilities, just like soldiers in an army. Yet, somewhere deep within, there's a longing for more, the desire to live authentically, to break free from conformity, and to follow a path guided by passion and purpose. This longing is the call of the warrior within. But what truly separates a soldier from a warrior? It's not physical strength, nor is it the willingness to fight. The difference lies in the source of their guidance. A soldier moves according to commands given by others. They follow, often without question, doing what is expected. A warrior, however, listens to their inner voice, guided by personal values, ethics, and a vision of something greater. A warrior doesn't just exist, they live with intention. Living like a soldier. In today's society, it's easy to fall into the role of a soldier. From the moment we are born, the world around us begins to shape who we are. Education systems, workplace expectations, and societal norms all teach us how to obey, how to fit in, and how to succeed according to someone else's definition. Most people spend their lives marching to this rhythm, rarely pausing to ask, is this the life I want to live? The reality is, living like a soldier feels safe. It provides structure and a sense of belonging. But it can also leave you feeling disconnected from your true self. You may achieve success by society's standards, but deep down, you might feel empty, like something essential is missing. Real-life example. Take the story of Lisa, a corporate professional who spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder. On paper, she was the picture of success, a six-figure salary, a corner office, and accolades from her peers. But every morning, as she put on her business suit, she felt like she was putting on armor to fight a battle she didn't believe in. It wasn't until she faced burnout that Lisa finally stopped to ask herself, what am I fighting for? Her journey to rediscover her passion wasn't easy, but it led her to leave the corporate world and start a non-profit focused on mental health, her true calling. Key insight. Living like a soldier may bring external success, but without inner alignment, it can lead to frustration and emptiness. True fulfillment comes not from following commands, but from following your heart. The call of the warrior. A warrior lives differently. They don't seek external validation, they seek meaning. A warrior's life is not about avoiding challenges, but about confronting them with courage. While soldiers may fight battles dictated by others, warriors fight battles that matter to their own souls. Philosophical insight. Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes from within. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha states, "Better than conquering 1,000 armies is conquering oneself." This wisdom captures the essence of a warrior. Their greatest battle is not with the world but with their own doubts, fears, and attachments. A warrior is not concerned with external victories, they are devoted to mastering themselves. Real-life example. Think of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable suffering in concentration camps. Despite the horrors around him, Frankl realized that his inner freedom could never be taken away. He found meaning even in the midst of suffering. Later writing in Man's Search for Meaning, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Frankl's ability to find purpose in his suffering is the hallmark of a true warrior. The mindset of a warrior. What does it take to become a warrior in today's world? It begins with shifting your mindset from obedience to self-leadership. Warriors take ownership of their lives. They don't wait for permission to act, nor do they rely on others to define their worth. Instead, they live with integrity, aligning their actions with their core values. Buddhist perspective. This shift mirrors the Buddhist concept of right intention, Samma Sankappa, from the Noble Eightfold Path. Right intention involves cultivating thoughts of kindness, compassion, and purpose while letting go of harmful desires. Just as a warrior is guided by their inner ethics, this principle encourages individuals to live intentionally, choosing actions that align with their higher purpose. Practical steps to cultivate a warrior mindset. 1. Reflect on your values. Take time to identify what truly matters to you. What are the principles you want to live by? 2. Set clear intentions. Begin each day by setting an intention that aligns with your values. This could be as simple as, "Today, I will approach challenges with courage and kindness." 3. Practice self-discipline. Warriors are not born, they are made through consistent effort. Commit to habits that strengthen your mind and body, such as meditation, exercise, or journaling. Real-life example. Serena Williams is an embodiment of the warrior mindset. As one of the greatest athletes of all time, her journey has been marked by relentless determination. After facing injuries, setbacks, and even becoming a mother, Serena has repeatedly demonstrated her ability to rise above challenges. Her success is not just about talent but about her unwavering commitment to her purpose. The courage to walk alone. One of the defining traits of a warrior is their willingness to walk alone. While soldiers find strength in numbers, warriors often walk solitary paths, guided by their convictions. This requires immense courage, as it means stepping away from the comfort of conformity and embracing the uncertainty of forging your own way. Buddhist story. In the Therigatha, Verses of the Elder Nuns, the story of Bhikkhuni Sumedho illustrates the courage of walking alone. Born into a wealthy family, Sumedho had everything society deemed valuable. Yet, she realized that material wealth couldn't bring lasting happiness. Against her family's wishes, she renounced her privileged life to become a nun. Her choice to follow the path of enlightenment, despite the challenges, showcases the essence of a warrior, one who dares to follow their truth. Takeaway. Choosing to live as a warrior means embracing uncertainty and trusting yourself. It's about listening to your inner voice, even when it contradicts the expectations of others. Becoming a warrior in your own life. Transitioning from a soldier to a warrior doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process of self-discovery, courage, and commitment. Here's how you can start. 1. Question the norms. Challenge societal expectations that no longer serve you. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? 2. Seek inner alignment. Align your daily actions with your deeper purpose. This alignment creates a sense of fulfillment and peace. 3. Surround yourself with warriors. Find mentors, friends, or communities that inspire you to live authentically. Reflection exercise. Take a moment to write down your biggest challenges. Then, ask yourself, am I approaching these challenges like a soldier or a warrior? Commit to taking one small step toward confronting them with courage and intention. Closing thought for part 1. The journey from a soldier to a warrior is not an easy one. But it's the only path to a life of true meaning and fulfillment. As you walk this path, remember, you don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need the courage to take the first step. In the words of the Buddha, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. Are you ready to answer the call of the warrior within you? The path awaits. Part 2. Challenges are hidden blessings. Life is a continuous dance between ease and difficulty. We celebrate moments of joy but often resist or fear challenges. Yet, it is within these very challenges that the seeds of growth are planted. Challenges, though painful and daunting, are not obstacles meant to break us. They are blessings in disguise. Opportunities to discover our strength, resilience, and purpose. The inevitability of challenges. No one can escape the trials of life. They come in various forms: financial struggles, health crises, broken relationships, or the loss of loved ones. Each challenge feels unique, yet they are universal experiences. What defines us is not the absence of hardship, but how we respond to it. Buddhist philosophy. In the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha identified dukkha, suffering, as an inherent part of existence. However, suffering is not meant to be seen as a punishment. Instead, it's a teacher. The Buddha's teaching urges us to look beyond the pain and ask, what is this challenge here to teach me? The transformative power of challenges. Challenges are catalysts for transformation. They push us to our limits, forcing us to confront our fears and weaknesses. In this process, we discover hidden strengths and untapped potential. Like a diamond formed under immense pressure, we, too, are refined through adversity. Real-life example. Consider the story of Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty and facing unimaginable challenges as a young girl, she could have let her circumstances define her. Instead, she used her struggles as fuel for her success. Today, Oprah is not just a media mogul but a symbol of resilience and empowerment. Her hardships shaped her into the influential figure she is, inspiring millions around the globe. Buddhist perspective. This resilience echoes the Buddhist concept of anicca, impermanence. No matter how overwhelming a challenge may seem, it is temporary. Understanding this impermanence allows us to face difficulties with courage, knowing they, too, shall pass. The gift of self-discovery. Challenges often act as mirrors, reflecting back who we truly are. They strip away superficial layers, forcing us to confront our vulnerabilities and reevaluate our priorities. This process of self-discovery can be uncomfortable but is ultimately liberating. Story. Think of J.K. Rowling, who, before becoming one of the world's most beloved authors, faced severe financial struggles as a single mother. She describes her lowest point as the foundation upon which she rebuilt her life. Her story reminds us that it's often in the darkest moments that we find the light within ourselves. Practical insight. 1. Reflect on past challenges. Look back at a difficult time in your life. What did you learn from it? How did it shape you into the person you are today? 2. Embrace discomfort. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. When faced with a challenge, remind yourself that discomfort is a sign of transformation. Reframing challenges. Our perception of challenges often determines how we respond to them. While some see obstacles as insurmountable, others view them as opportunities. Reframing your mindset can turn even the most daunting difficulties into stepping stones for growth. Buddhist practice. The Buddhist teaching of right view encourages us to see challenges not as burdens but as parts of the greater journey of life. By cultivating gratitude for these experiences, we shift our focus from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I learn from this?" Practical example. Imagine a person losing their job, a situation that feels devastating in the moment. For some, this might spiral into despair. But for others, it becomes an opportunity to reassess their path, acquire new skills, or pursue a passion they had long ignored. Many people, in hindsight, describe such moments as turning points that led to greater fulfillment. Building resilience through challenges. Resilience is not something we are born with, it is built over time through repeated exposure to hardship. Each challenge strengthens our ability to bounce back, making us more adaptable and resourceful. Practical steps to build resilience. 1. Practice mindfulness when facing a challenge. Pause and center yourself. A few deep breaths can help ground you in the present moment. 2. Break it down. Large challenges can feel overwhelming. Break them into smaller, manageable steps to regain control. 3. Find your support system. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Their presence can provide strength during tough times. 4. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Story. Nelson Mandela's 27 years in prison could have crushed his spirit. Instead, he emerged stronger, with a vision of unity and forgiveness that changed a nation. Mandela's resilience was not innate, it was cultivated through years of reflection, endurance, and unwavering hope. Challenges as bridges to compassion. One of the most profound gifts of challenges is the ability to connect with others on a deeper level. When we experience pain or hardship, we develop empathy for those facing similar struggles. This shared humanity becomes a bridge that unites us. Buddhist teaching. The practice of karuna, compassion, is central to Buddhism. By embracing our challenges, we cultivate compassion for ourselves and extend that same kindness to others. The Buddha often emphasized that our suffering is not isolated but shared by all beings. Real-life example. After surviving a life-threatening illness, a woman named Sarah started a support group for others battling similar conditions. Her experience gave her the empathy and insight needed to help others heal, not just physically but emotionally. Takeaway. Challenges remind us of our interconnectedness. They teach us that while pain is inevitable, we don't have to face it alone. Practical tools for embracing challenges. 1. Meditation for perspective. Set aside time each day to meditate. Focus on your breath and observe your challenges without judgment. This practice helps you see difficulties as transient and manageable. 2. Gratitude journal. Even in tough times, there is always something to be grateful for. Write down 3 things each day that bring you joy or comfort. This shifts your focus from lack to abundance. 3. Mantra for strength. Use affirmations to cultivate resilience. A powerful Buddhist mantra is, "This too shall pass." Repeat it to yourself during moments of struggle to remind yourself of impermanence. The warrior's approach to challenges. A warrior does not run from challenges, they face them head-on. They understand that growth is only possible through discomfort. While others may see hardship as a reason to quit, the warrior sees it as a reason to persist. Story of a warrior. In the Shaolin tradition, monks train rigorously, often pushing their bodies and minds to the limit. Yet, they do so not out of a desire for physical strength, but to cultivate discipline and inner peace. Their training teaches them that true strength comes from perseverance, even when the task feels impossible. Takeaway for daily life. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I gain from this experience? Remember, every battle you fight is making you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Closing thought for part 2. Challenges are not here to defeat you, they are here to define you. Each obstacle you face is a lesson, a stepping stone, a chance to evolve into the person you are meant to be. As you navigate life's trials, hold on to this truth. The lotus blooms most beautifully from the deepest, darkest mud. Your challenges are the mud from which your strength will bloom. Embrace them, and let them transform you. Part 3. The 2 principles of a warrior. A warrior's journey is not about perfection, but about persistence. The path is defined not by the absence of failure, but by the willingness to face challenges and rise stronger every time. At the core of this journey are 2 principles: courage to confront challenges and honesty to acknowledge one's limits. These principles are not just ideals, they are practices that shape the essence of a true warrior. Principle 1. Face your challenges. The instinct to run away from difficulties is deeply human. When faced with uncertainty, discomfort, or fear, our minds often default to avoidance. But running away doesn't resolve the problem, it only delays the inevitable. The first principle of a warrior is to face challenges head-on. Buddhist insight. The Buddha taught that suffering, dukkha, is inevitable. But avoiding it only deepens our pain. In the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha compares suffering to being struck by 2 arrows. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain of life, and the second is the self-inflicted wound of our resistance to that pain. Facing challenges allows us to stop shooting the second arrow. The consequences of avoidance. Avoiding challenges may feel like a safe choice in the moment, but it comes with long-term consequences. It erodes confidence, creates unresolved tensions, and limits personal growth. Over time, avoidance traps us in a cycle of fear and regret. Real-life example. Consider someone who avoids difficult conversations in their relationships. Each time they sidestep a conflict, resentment builds, trust diminishes, and emotional distance grows. Over time, what could have been a small challenge to address becomes a major rift, turning toward difficulty. Facing challenges doesn't mean you have to conquer them immediately. It starts with a willingness to turn toward the discomfort and acknowledge its presence. This simple act can transform your relationship with fear and hardship. Practical steps to face challenges. 1. Pause and acknowledge. When faced with a challenge, take a moment to recognize it without judgment. Say to yourself, "This is hard, but I am capable of facing it." 2. Break it down. Big challenges often feel overwhelming. Divide them into smaller, manageable steps. 3. Focus on the first step, instead of worrying about the entire journey. Commit to taking the first step. Story. In the Mahabharata, Arjuna, the great warrior of ancient India, is paralyzed with fear on the battlefield. He doesn't want to face the conflict before him. Krishna, his guide, teaches him that true courage lies not in avoiding the fight, but in embracing his duty with clarity and purpose. Arjuna's journey mirrors our own. The battle is not external, it is within us. Principle 2. Be honest about your limits. A warrior is not someone who pretends to be invincible. They are someone who understands their strengths and weaknesses and uses that knowledge to grow. The second principle of a warrior is honesty, especially with oneself. The power of self-awareness. Acknowledging your limits is not a sign of weakness, it's a step toward wisdom. Self-awareness allows you to identify areas where you need to improve and seek help when necessary. Buddhist insight. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the principle of right view teaches us to see things as they are, without illusion. This includes recognizing our own limitations. The Buddha himself practiced this when he abandoned extreme asceticism after realizing it was not the path to enlightenment. He embraced the middle way, a balanced approach that acknowledged the needs of the body and mind. The dangers of denial. Denying your limits often leads to burnout, frustration, and failure. It creates unrealistic expectations and distances you from opportunities for growth. Real-life example. In the corporate world, leaders who refuse to delegate or admit their mistakes often fail to inspire their teams. Their denial of their limitations creates a toxic environment, whereas leaders who show vulnerability build trust and foster collaboration. Embracing growth through honesty. Being honest about your limits doesn't mean accepting them as permanent. It means viewing them as opportunities for growth. Every limitation is a starting point for improvement. Practical steps to embrace your limits. 1. Conduct a self-assessment. Take time to reflect on your strengths and areas for growth. Write them down. 2. Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends, mentors, or colleagues for their perspectives. They may see potential in you that you haven't recognized. 3. Set realistic goals. Challenge yourself. But avoid setting goals that are so ambitious they become discouraging. Story. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Despite his immense influence, Gandhi often admitted his own struggles and imperfections. His honesty about his humanity made his leadership relatable and inspiring. The balance between facing challenges and recognizing limits. The two principles, facing challenges and acknowledging limits, are not opposites. They complement each other. Together, they create a balanced approach to life's difficulties. A warrior knows when to push forward and when to step back. Reflect and prepare. Buddhist insight. This balance aligns with the teaching of the middle way. In avoiding extremes, avoid the recklessness or avoidance, we find clarity and strength. Practical application. 1. When you face a challenge, pause and ask, "Am I prepared to handle this right now?" 2. If the answer is no, take a step back and plan your approach. Prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically before returning to the challenge. The warrior's daily practice. Living by these two principles requires consistent effort. Warriors are not born, they are made through daily practice and commitment. Daily practices to cultivate courage and honesty. 1. Morning reflection. Begin each day by reflecting on your intentions. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? And how will I approach them? 2. Mindfulness meditation. Spend 10 to 15 minutes observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. This practice strengthens your ability to face discomfort with equanimity. 3. Gratitude journal. End each day by writing down one challenge you faced and what you learned from it. Over time, this habit shifts your perspective to see challenges as opportunities. Story of resilience. The Shaolin monks are known for their incredible strength and discipline. But their training is not about physical prowess alone. It's about mental and spiritual endurance. Each day, they face grueling challenges. But they also practice mindfulness and humility, acknowledging their limits while striving for excellence. This balance is what makes them true warriors. Lessons from everyday warriors. You don't have to be a monk, an athlete, or a historical figure to live by these principles. Everyday warriors are all around us, parents juggling work and family, students navigating the pressures of education, and individuals overcoming personal struggles. Real-life example. Sarah, a single mother of 2, faced the challenge of losing her job during the pandemic. Instead of giving in to despair, she confronted the situation head-on. She took online courses to learn new skills, reached out to her community for support, and eventually started her own business. Along the way, she admitted her fears and limitations but refused to let them define her. Today, Sarah is not just surviving, she's thriving. Key takeaways for living by these principles. 1. Face challenges with courage, but prepare yourself with honesty. 2. View limitations as opportunities for growth, not barriers to success. 3. Balance action with reflection to build resilience and wisdom. Reflection exercise. At the end of this section, take a moment to identify one challenge you are currently avoiding. Write down one small step you can take to confront it today. Then, list one limitation you've been ignoring and brainstorm how you can turn it into an opportunity for growth. Closing thought for part 3. The journey of a warrior is not about winning every battle, but about growing stronger with each one. Courage and honesty are the twin pillars of this path. Together, they create a foundation for a life of resilience, wisdom, and purpose. In the words of the Buddha, the wise conquer themselves, for the greatest battle is within. The question now is, are you ready to face your challenges and embrace your limits to uncover the warrior within you? Part 4. Failure as a gateway to growth. Failure is a universal experience. It spares no one. Whether it's a missed opportunity, a broken relationship, or a goal that slips through our fingers, failure touches every life. Yet, what sets warriors apart is not the absence of failure, but their ability to see it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Failure, when embraced, becomes one of life's greatest teachers, a gateway to growth and transformation. The nature of failure. At its core, failure is not about losing, it's about learning. It's a mirror that reflects back our weaknesses, our missteps, and sometimes even our strengths. When viewed through the right lens, failure can reveal paths we never considered, deepen our understanding of ourselves, and build the resilience we need to move forward. Buddhist perspective. Buddhism teaches that failure is intertwined with the concept of impermanence, anicca. Everything in life is transient, including our setbacks. This understanding allows us to approach failure with curiosity instead of fear, knowing that it is a temporary state and not a permanent label. The emotional weight of failure. Failure often carries a heavy emotional burden, shame, disappointment, and fear of judgment. These emotions can paralyze us, making it difficult to rise again. However, by acknowledging and processing these emotions, we can transform them into sources of strength. Real-life example. Thomas Edison. When asked about his 10,000 failed attempts to invent the light bulb, famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His perspective shows that failure is not about the number of times you fall, but about the lessons you carry forward. Practical insight. 1. Allow yourself to feel. Suppressing emotions only prolongs their impact. Give yourself permission to feel disappointment, but don't dwell there. 2. Reframe the narrative. Instead of saying, "I failed," try saying, "This didn't work, but I learned something valuable." Failure and the ego. One of the reasons failure feels so painful is because it bruises the ego. Our sense of self-worth often becomes entangled with our achievements. And when those achievements fall short, our ego takes a hit. However, failure offers a chance to detach from this ego-driven identity and cultivate humility. Buddhist insight. The Buddha taught that the ego, atta, is an illusion. Clinging to it creates suffering. Failure, when embraced, becomes a tool to dissolve the ego, reminding us that our worth is not tied to external success but to our intrinsic humanity. Story. Consider the story of the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara. Legends tell of her vow to save all beings from suffering. When she felt overwhelmed by the enormity of her task, her body shattered into pieces. Instead of giving up, she used this failure as a turning point, transforming herself into a thousand-armed figure capable of reaching and helping more beings. Her failure became the catalyst for her greater purpose. Failure as a teacher. Every failure carries a lesson. It reveals gaps in our knowledge, weaknesses in our approach, or opportunities for improvement. By treating failure as feedback rather than a verdict, we shift our mindset from defeat to growth. Practical steps to learn from failure. 1. Analyze the cause. Take time to reflect on what went wrong. Was it a lack of preparation, external circumstances, or a flawed strategy? 2. Identify the lesson. Write down one thing you can do differently next time. 3. Share your experience. Talking about your failure with others not only reduces its emotional weight but can also provide new perspectives. Story. Oprah Winfrey, early in her career, was fired from her job as a television reporter. Instead of letting this failure define her, she used it as a stepping stone to find her true calling. Today, she credits that setback as the moment that redirected her toward her life's purpose. Resilience through repetition. Failure tests our resilience. Rising once is commendable, but rising repeatedly after each fall is the hallmark of true strength. Warriors understand that resilience is not a one-time act but a skill developed through consistent practice. Buddhist perspective. The concept of virya, effort, in Buddhism emphasizes sustained effort in the face of adversity. It teaches us to persist, not because success is guaranteed, but because the act of trying itself strengthens our character. Real-life example. J.K. Rowling faced rejection from 12 publishers before a small press finally agreed to publish Harry Potter. Each rejection could have been the end of her dream, but her persistence turned her story into a global phenomenon. Practical insight. Create a mantra for resilience. I rise because I choose to. Repeat this to yourself whenever you feel discouraged. Celebrate small victories along the way to remind yourself of progress, even if the ultimate goal is still out of reach. The role of failure in self-discovery. Failure often acts as a mirror, showing us who we truly are. It strips away the layers of pretense and forces us to confront our values, priorities, and desires. In this way, failure becomes a tool for self-discovery. Story. Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded, described it as one of the most devastating failures of his life. Yet, during this period, he discovered his passion for innovation and went on to build Pixar and Next. When he eventually returned to Apple, it was with a renewed sense of purpose and vision. Jobs often credited his failures for shaping his success. Reflection exercise. Ask yourself, what has failure taught me about who I am? What strengths or values have emerged from my struggles? Failure as a path to compassion. Experiencing failure often makes us more compassionate toward others. It reminds us of our shared humanity and creates empathy for those going through similar struggles. Buddhist insight. The practice of karuna, compassion, grows stronger when we acknowledge our own imperfections. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to use our experiences of suffering to connect with and support others. Real-life example. A woman named Emily, after losing her business, started volunteering at a local shelter. Her experience of financial struggle made her more empathetic toward others in similar situations. Eventually, she used her knowledge to help shelter residents start their own small businesses, turning her failure into a source of hope for others. Practical tools to embrace failure. 1. Failure journaling. Keep a journal to document your failures and what you learned from them. Over time, this practice will help you see patterns and growth in your journey. 2. Meditation on impermanence. Spend 5 to 10 minutes daily reflecting on the transient nature of failure. Visualize it as a passing storm, knowing that clear skies will follow. 3. Create a failure portfolio. List your biggest failures alongside the successes or lessons that emerged from them. This serves as a reminder that failure often leads to growth. The warrior's perspective on failure. A warrior does not fear failure because they understand its value. They know that each setback is a test of their resolve and an opportunity for growth. Warriors rise not in spite of failure but because of it. Story of a warrior. In the Shaolin tradition, novice monks often fail at basic tasks, from balancing on one leg to mastering a martial art form. But these failures are intentional, designed by their teachers to build resilience and humility. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes second nature, proving that failure is an essential part of mastery. Key takeaways for embracing failure. 1. Redefine failure. See it as feedback, not a verdict. 2. Learn and adapt. Treat each failure as a lesson and adjust your approach accordingly. 3. Cultivate compassion. Use your experiences to connect with and support others. 4. Build resilience. Embrace the repetition of rising after each fall. It's the path to strength. Closing thought for part 4. Failure is not the end of your story. It's the chapter that sets the stage for your greatest transformation. Each setback, each misstep, is a reminder that you are human, and that being human means having the power to learn, grow, and rise. In the words of Nelson Mandela, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." As you navigate your own failures, remember, every time you rise, you are becoming a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate warrior. The question now is, what will you do with your next failure? Will you let it define you? Or will you let it refine you? Part 5. The balance between action and rest. Life is a delicate balance between action and stillness, creation and regeneration. A warrior understands this balance is not optional, it is essential. Without rest, action becomes unsustainable. Without action, rest becomes stagnation. The true art of living lies in harmonizing these two forces, ensuring that each complements the other. Why balance is essential. In today's fast-paced world, many of us live in extremes. We either push ourselves to the point of burnout or retreat into inactivity, paralyzed by fear or exhaustion. Neither extreme is healthy. Balance is what allows us to thrive, to sustain effort without depleting ourselves. Buddhist insight. The Buddha emphasized balance through the middle way, a path that avoids the extremes of indulgence and asceticism. When we swing too far in either direction, we lose sight of our purpose and become disconnected from our inner peace. Modern example. Think of a high-performing athlete. They train intensely, but they also prioritize recovery, stretching, sleeping, and nourishing their bodies. Without rest, their training would lead to injury. Without action, their skills would stagnate. The same principle applies to all aspects of life. Action, the catalyst for growth. Action is how we bring our ideas, goals, and dreams into reality. It's the engine of progress, fueled by effort and intention. However, not all action is equal. For action to be effective, it must be purposeful and aligned with our values. Buddhist perspective. In the Eightfold Path, the concept of right effort emphasizes channeling energy toward what is beneficial and meaningful. This principle reminds us that action should not be about busyness for its own sake, but about moving with intention toward our highest goals. Purposeful action. Purposeful action is action that aligns with your values and long-term vision. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Practical steps to cultivate purposeful action. 1. Set clear priorities. Identify what truly matters to you and focus your energy on those areas. 2. Eliminate distractions. Say no to tasks and commitments that don't align with your priorities. 3. Work in focused blocks. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method to maximize your productivity without overexerting yourself. Story. Consider Elon Musk's approach to productivity. Despite managing multiple companies, he breaks his day into 5-minute blocks, focusing intensely on specific tasks. This disciplined approach allows him to take meaningful action without being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of his responsibilities. Action without attachment. One of the pitfalls of action is becoming overly attached to outcomes. This attachment creates unnecessary stress and disappointment when things don't go as planned. Buddhist perspective. The Bhagavad Gita offers timeless wisdom. You have a right to your actions, but not to the fruits of your actions. By focusing on the process rather than the result, we free ourselves from the burden of unrealistic expectations. Practical insight. Shift your mindset from, I need to succeed, to, I need to try. Celebrate effort over results, knowing that consistent effort leads to growth over time. Rest, the foundation of renewal. Just as action drives progress, rest provides the space for recovery and reflection. It's in stillness that we recharge, process our experiences, and prepare for the next step in our journey. Buddhist insight. Meditation is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, teaching us that rest is not laziness but a vital part of spiritual and mental well-being. The Buddha often retreated into solitude, finding clarity and renewal in the stillness of nature. The science of rest. Modern research supports the importance of rest. Studies show that adequate sleep improves memory, decision-making, and overall well-being. Similarly, short breaks during work enhance focus and creativity. Practical steps to incorporate rest. 1. Prioritize sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. Use blackout curtains. Avoid screens before bed, and establish a calming bedtime routine. 2. Schedule downtime. Plan breaks throughout your day. even if they're just 5 to 10 minutes to stretch, breathe, or take a short walk. 3. Practice active rest. Engage in activities that relax and rejuvenate you, such as yoga, gardening, or listening to music. Story: Oriana Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post, once collapsed from exhaustion due to overwork. This wake-up call led her to champion the importance of sleep and self-care, transforming not only her life but also her approach to leadership. Balancing action and rest. The key to balance lies in understanding that action and rest are not opposites but partners. Each supports the other, creating a cycle of energy and renewal. Buddhist story. In the Vinaya Pitaka, there's a story about a monk who practiced meditation tirelessly but became frustrated because he wasn't making progress. The Buddha noticed his struggle and offered a parable: if a lute string is too tight, it will snap. If it's too loose, it won't play. Balance, like the perfectly tuned string, is the key to harmony. The monk took this advice to heart, incorporating rest into his practice, and soon found the clarity he sought. Practical tools for balance. 1. Plan your day with intention. Divide your day into periods of focused work and intentional rest. Use tools like time blocking or productivity apps to ensure balance. 2. Listen to your body. Pay attention to signs of fatigue or stress. Rest when needed, without guilt. 3. Reflect weekly. Take 15 minutes at the end of each week to review your actions and rest. Ask yourself, did I maintain balance? What can I improve next week? Real-life example. The Dalai Lama's daily routine exemplifies balance. Despite his demanding schedule, he dedicates hours each day to meditation, ensuring that his actions are rooted in clarity and peace. This balance enables him to sustain his energy and focus as a global spiritual leader. The warrior's approach to balance. A warrior doesn't see rest as a weakness but as a necessary part of their strength. They understand that action without rest leads to burnout, while rest without action leads to stagnation. By embracing both, they create a life of sustainable growth and fulfillment. Story of a warrior. In the Shaolin tradition, training is intense, often pushing the body and mind to their limits. However, rest and mindfulness are equally prioritized. Monks practice meditation and Tai Chi to restore balance, ensuring their strength comes not just from physical effort but from mental and spiritual harmony. Practical takeaway for your life. View rest as preparation, not procrastination. Remember, the time you spend recharging is an investment in your future actions. The interconnectedness of action and rest. Action and rest are not just about what you do or don't do, they reflect your relationship with yourself. Striking a balance between the two requires self-awareness, self-compassion, and a commitment to living intentionally. Reflection exercise. At the end of each day, ask yourself, 1. What actions did I take today? And how did they align with my values? 2. Did I rest adequately? If not, how can I make time for rest tomorrow? Key takeaways for balancing action and rest. 1. Action fuels progress, but rest fuels longevity. 2. Purposeful action leads to meaningful outcomes, while mindful rest ensures sustainability. 3. Balance is not a destination but a daily practice of listening to your needs and adjusting accordingly. Closing thought for part 5. A life without action is stagnant. A life without rest is unsustainable. The warrior's path is about walking the fine line between these two forces, understanding that each serves the other. In the words of Lao Tzu, nature does not hurry. Yet everything is accomplished. As you navigate your own journey, remember, balance is not about perfection. It's about harmony. With each step forward and each moment of stillness, you are becoming the warrior you were meant to be. Part 6. Focus on direction, not destination. Life is often described as a journey. But too often, we become fixated on the destination. We set goals, create timelines, and envision the future in vivid detail. While having aspirations is important, becoming overly attached to specific outcomes can lead to frustration and disappointment. True fulfillment comes not from rigidly pursuing a fixed destination, but from shaping a meaningful direction. A warrior doesn't march blindly toward a single point on the horizon. Instead, they walk with intention, fully present in each step, trusting that the path will reveal itself as they move forward. The illusion of fixed goals. Goals, while motivating, can sometimes create a false sense of control. We may think, if I just achieve this, I'll finally be happy, only to find that reaching the destination leaves us unfulfilled. Life, with its impermanence and unpredictability, often refuses to conform to our plans. Buddhist insight. The concept of non-attachment in Buddhism reminds us that clinging to specific outcomes leads to suffering. The Buddha taught that it's not the achievement of goals, but the intention and effort behind our actions that matter. Living with purpose doesn't mean chasing perfection, it means walking a path aligned with your values. Modern example. Think of someone who works tirelessly for years to secure a dream job, only to feel empty once they achieve it. Why? Because their happiness was tied to the outcome rather than the journey. On the other hand, individuals who focus on growth, learning, and contribution find fulfillment, regardless of whether they reach their initial goals. The power of direction. Direction provides clarity and momentum. While destinations are specific and often rigid, direction is fluid, allowing for adjustment and adaptation. When we focus on direction, we remain open to possibilities we might not have considered. Practical perspective. Imagine sailing a boat. Fixating on a single port can blind you to other safe harbors or opportunities to explore uncharted waters. However, if you sail with a clear direction, guided by the wind and currents, you allow life to guide you toward unexpected yet meaningful destinations. Story. Consider the life of Jane Goodall. As a young woman, she didn't set out with the rigid goal of becoming a world-renowned primatologist. Instead, she followed her passion for animals and nature. By staying true to her direction, she discovered groundbreaking insights about chimpanzees and became a global advocate for conservation. Her journey exemplifies the power of following a meaningful direction rather than a fixed destination. The freedom of adaptability. Focusing on direction allows us to adapt when life throws curveballs. Fixed goals can feel like shackles, making us resist change and cling to plans that no longer serve us. Direction, however, gives us the flexibility to pivot without losing sight of our purpose. Buddhist story. In the Jataka tales, a young merchant sets out to cross the desert, fixated on reaching a distant city. Along the way, a storm destroys his map, and he becomes lost. Instead of giving up, he uses the stars to guide him. Though he doesn't reach his original destination, he discovers a fertile valley where he builds a prosperous community. The tale teaches us that adaptability often leads to unexpected blessings. Practical insight. 1. Stay open to new opportunities. What appears to be a detour might be the best part of your journey. 2. Reframe setbacks as redirections. When plans change, ask yourself, What new possibilities does this open up? Living in the present. When we obsess over the destination, we miss the beauty of the present moment. Focusing on direction allows us to engage fully with life as it unfolds, finding joy and meaning in the journey itself. Buddhist insight. Mindfulness, sati, a key principle of the Eightfold Path, teaches us to anchor our awareness in the present. The Buddha often compared life to walking a path through a forest. If you're only looking at the horizon, you'll miss the flowers blooming at your feet. Story. John, a man in his 50s, spent decades climbing the corporate ladder, sacrificing family time for professional success. When his father passed away unexpectedly, John realized he had missed countless opportunities to create memories with his loved ones. From that moment, he shifted his focus from achieving more to living more, prioritizing time with family and cherishing each day. Practical tools to stay present. 1. Daily gratitude practice. Write down 3 things you appreciate about your current circumstances. 2. Mindful walking. During your daily walks, focus on the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. 3. Check-in questions. Regularly ask yourself, am I present in this moment? Or am I consumed by thoughts of the future? Shaping your direction. While destinations can feel overwhelming, shaping your direction is empowering. It's about taking small, intentional steps every day that align with your values and aspirations. Practical steps to shape your direction. 1. Identify your core values. Reflect on what matters most to you, whether it's family, creativity, service, or growth. Let these values guide your decisions. 2. Set short-term intentions. Instead of fixating on long-term goals, focus on immediate actions. For example, instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, say, I will take a 20-minute walk today. 3. Regularly reassess your path. Life is dynamic. Periodically review your direction to ensure it still aligns with your evolving values and circumstances. Story. Mary Oliver, the beloved poet, once wrote, Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Her words inspire us to live intentionally, not by chasing distant horizons but by aligning our daily actions with our deepest passions. The warrior's approach to direction. A warrior does not chase fleeting rewards. Instead, they walk a path of purpose, guided by their inner compass. They understand that fulfillment comes not from the destination but from the journey. Story of a warrior. In the Shaolin tradition, young monks train rigorously, not to achieve a single feat but to cultivate discipline, resilience, and self-mastery. Their practice is not about reaching a specific milestone but about becoming stronger and more aware with each passing day. Practical takeaway for your life. Shift your focus from achieving to becoming. Ask yourself, how am I growing through this journey? Overcoming the fear of uncertainty. One of the reasons we cling to fixed goals is fear of the unknown. Fear of failure. Fear of not having control. But focusing on direction liberates us from these fears, allowing us to embrace uncertainty as part of life's adventure. Buddhist insight. The Buddha taught that clinging to certainty creates suffering. By accepting the impermanence and unpredictability of life, we free ourselves to live with openness and curiosity. Practical tools to embrace uncertainty. 1. Practice non-attachment. Remind yourself that it's okay not to have all the answers. Trust the process. 2. Cultivate curiosity. View uncertainty as an opportunity to explore and discover rather than something to fear. 3. Anchor yourself in purpose. When you know your values, You can navigate uncertainty with confidence, even without a clear destination. The interplay between direction and destiny. While we shape our direction, life has a way of shaping us. There's a harmony between our intentions and the larger forces at play. When we focus on direction, we create space for serendipity and grace to guide us toward our destiny. Story. Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford commencement speech, said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward." Jobs didn't plan every detail of his journey, but by following his passions and staying true to his direction, he created a legacy that changed the world. Takeaway. Trust that the steps you take today are laying the foundation for something greater, even if you can't yet see the full picture. Key takeaways for focusing on direction. 1. Let go of fixed goals. Focus on aligning your actions with your values, not chasing specific outcomes. 2. Embrace adaptability. Be open to changing course when life presents new opportunities. 3. Stay present. Find joy and meaning in the journey itself, not just the destination. 4. Trust the process. Believe that your efforts are leading you exactly where you need to be. Closing thought for part 6. Direction, not destination, is what shapes a meaningful life. By walking with purpose, staying present, and embracing uncertainty, you create a journey that is not only fulfilling but transformative. In the words of Rumi, as you start to walk on the way appears. So, ask yourself, am I fixated on reaching a specific point? Or am I embracing the path unfolding before me? Trust in your direction, and let the journey guide you. Part 7. Rising Beyond Fear, the Power of Courage. Fear is a shadow that follows us all. It whispers doubts into our minds, magnifies uncertainty, and often convinces us to stay in the comfort of what we know. Yet, fear is not the enemy. For a warrior, fear is a teacher, a force that reveals where we need to grow, what we value most, and how we can rise above our limitations. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite it. Understanding fear. Fear often arises from two sources, the unknown and the attachment to what we cannot bear to lose. It manifests in countless ways: fear of failure, rejection, loss, or change. While fear serves a survival purpose, keeping us alert to danger, it can also imprison us if left unchecked. Buddhist insight. The Buddha described fear as a creation of the mind, fueled by attachment and ignorance. In the Dhammapada, he teaches, those who conquer themselves are mightier than those who conquer others. This includes conquering the fears that arise from our own minds. Modern example. Consider public speaking, one of the most common fears. For many, the fear isn't the act itself, but the imagined judgment of others. When we confront this fear, we often discover that it was more about perception than reality. The role of fear in growth. Fear highlights the edges of our comfort zone. When we lean into it, we find opportunities to expand our boundaries and develop courage, resilience, and self-trust. Fear points the way to our greatest growth. Story. Think of Rosa Parks, who in 1955 refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her act of defiance was not without fear, but her courage to face it inspired a movement that changed history. Rosa Parks didn't act because she was fearless, she acted because her convictions were stronger than her fear. Practical tools to rise beyond fear. 1. Name your fear. Writing down your fears helps you confront them. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And why? Naming your fear takes away some of its power by bringing it into the light. 2. Take small steps. Break down your fear into manageable actions. If you're afraid of speaking up, start with small conversations and gradually build your confidence. 3. Visualize success. Close your eyes and picture yourself overcoming the fear. Imagine the emotions you'll feel when you succeed. Visualization primes your mind for courage. 4. Use mindfulness. Fear thrives on projection, imagining worst-case scenarios. Mindfulness anchors you in the present moment, reminding you that the fear is often worse than the reality. Buddhist practice. In meditation, observe fear as a passing sensation. Label it, this is fear. Notice how it arises, peaks, and eventually fades. This practice helps you detach from fear and see it as temporary, not all-encompassing. The courage to act. Courage is not a grand, dramatic gesture. It's often quiet. A steady resolve to take one step forward, even when fear looms large. Warriors understand that courage is built through repeated actions, not sudden transformations. Real-life example. Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel laureate, demonstrated extraordinary courage in standing up for girls' education. Even after surviving a violent attack, she continued her advocacy, stating, "I told myself, Malala, you've already faced death. This is your second life. Don't be afraid. If you are afraid, you can't move forward." Her story reminds us that courage is about persistence, not the absence of fear. The warrior's relationship with fear. For a warrior, fear is not an enemy to be defeated but a companion to be understood. Warriors know that fear can sharpen their instincts and reveal their deepest values. They face fear not by suppressing it but by befriending it. Story of a warrior. In Shaolin training, novice monks are often put through tasks that evoke fear, balancing on precarious edges or sparring with more experienced opponents. These exercises aren't designed to instill terror but to teach the monks how to remain calm under pressure. The goal is not to eliminate fear but to act with clarity in its presence. Takeaway. When fear arises, ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? Instead of fighting it, approach it with curiosity and openness. Transforming fear into courage. Fear, when acknowledged and embraced, transforms into courage. This transformation begins with self-awareness and is sustained by intentional practice. Practical steps to cultivate courage. 1. Develop self-trust. Remind yourself of past challenges you've overcome. Confidence grows when you recognize your ability to persevere. 2. Practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you fear losing to what you already have. It fosters a sense of abundance and security. 3. Surround yourself with support. Courage often emerges in the presence of others who inspire and uplift you. Seek out mentors, friends, or communities that encourage growth. Story. A young entrepreneur named Sarah feared starting her own business after being laid off. With encouragement from her family and a mentor, she took small, calculated steps toward launching her company. Today, she credits her success to both her fear and her willingness to move through it. The connection between fear and love. At its root, fear often stems from love for life, for others, or for what we value most. Understanding this connection can help us see fear in a new light. Buddhist perspective. The practice of metta, loving kindness, teaches us to approach both ourselves and our fears with compassion. By holding fear with kindness, we dissolve its power and create space for courage to emerge. Reflection exercise. Think of a fear you're currently facing. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? What does this fear reveal about what I value most? This perspective shifts fear from something to avoid into something meaningful. Living with fear. Not without it. The goal is not to eliminate fear, it's to live alongside it. Fear will always exist. But it doesn't have to control you. Warriors walk with fear as an ally. Not as a master. Practical insight. 1. Redefine fear. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, view it as a signal that you're stepping into growth. 2. Build resilience through repetition. The more you face fear, the less power it holds over you. Start small and build from there. Story of resilience. The story of Helen Keller is a testament to living with courage. Blind and deaf from a young age, she faced immense challenges in communicating with the world. Yet, through perseverance and the support of her teacher and Sullivan, Helen not only learned to communicate but also became an author and activist. Her life reminds us that fear and limitations can be transcended through persistent effort and faith. Key takeaways for rising beyond fear. 1. Acknowledge fear, name it, observe it, and understand its roots. 2. Act despite fear. Courage grows with every small step you take toward what you value. 3. Use fear as a guide. Let it reveal what matters most to you and where you need to grow. 4. Hold fear with compassion. Treat it as a part of yourself that needs understanding, not rejection. Closing thought for part 7. Fear will always be part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to define your life. Every act of courage, no matter how small, is a victory over fear. Each step you take strengthens your resolve and reminds you of the warrior within. In the words of Franklin D. Roosevelt, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear. The question now is, what will you choose to prioritize over your fear? The path forward is yours to take, one courageous step at a time. Part 8. The Warrior's Legacy: A Life of Purpose. Every warrior walks a path, but not all paths are the same. Some chase external rewards, fame, power, or wealth, only to find these fleeting and unfulfilling. A true warrior, however, seeks a deeper purpose. Their legacy isn't defined by trophies or accolades but by the lives they touch, the values they uphold, and the strength they inspire in others. The ultimate goal of a warrior isn't just to fight battles but to transform themselves and the world around them. This transformation begins with purpose. What does it mean to live with purpose? Living with purpose is about aligning your actions with your values and contributing to something greater than yourself. It's about finding meaning in your experiences and creating a legacy that reflects your truest self. Buddhist insight. In Buddhism, the concept of Dharma embodies this idea. Dharma refers not only to the teachings of the Buddha but also to the individual's duty to live a life of righteousness and meaning. To follow your Dharma is to live in harmony with the natural order and contribute positively to the world. Real-life example. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lived with an unshakable sense of purpose. His fight for civil rights wasn't just about changing laws, it was about transforming hearts and minds. Despite facing constant danger and opposition, he remained steadfast because he believed in a higher calling: justice, equality, and love. Reflection question. What values guide your life? How can you align your daily actions with those values to create a meaningful legacy? The warrior's ripple effect. When a warrior lives with purpose, their actions create ripples that extend far beyond themselves. Their courage inspires others to rise. Their kindness fosters connection, and their resilience demonstrates what's possible. Story. Consider the life of the Dalai Lama. Despite living in exile for decades, he continues to radiate compassion and wisdom. His teachings have inspired millions to embrace peace, forgiveness, and mindfulness. His legacy isn't just in his words, but in the way he embodies his values, creating ripples of change worldwide. Practical insight. 1. Identify your impact. Think about the ways, big or small, in which your actions affect others. 2. Focus on service. Legacy is often built through acts of service. Find ways to contribute to your community, family, or workplace in meaningful ways. Purpose through challenges. Many warriors discover their purpose through hardship. Challenges often strip away superficial desires and reveal what truly matters. When we embrace these lessons, we emerge with a clearer sense of direction and a deeper commitment to our values. Buddhist insight. The Buddha's own journey to enlightenment began with suffering. As a prince, he was shielded from the realities of illness, aging, and death. It was only when he encountered these truths that he left his palace in search of a greater purpose, ending suffering for all beings. His challenges became the foundation of his legacy. Story. Malala Yousafzai's life exemplifies this principle. After surviving a brutal attack for advocating girls' education, she could have retreated into fear. Instead, she used her experience to amplify her mission, becoming a global advocate for education and equality. Her purpose was born from her challenges. Practical insight. Reflect on your own struggles. Ask yourself, what have I learned from these experiences? And how can I use those lessons to help others? Embrace adversity as a tool for growth and clarity. Living beyond the self. A warrior's legacy is not just about personal success, it's about leaving the world better than they found it. This shift from self-centered goals to collective well-being transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary warriors. Buddhist perspective. The Bodhisattva path in Mahayana Buddhism embodies this ideal. A bodhisattva vows to delay their own enlightenment until all beings are liberated from suffering. This selfless commitment reflects the ultimate purpose, serving others with compassion and wisdom. Real-life example. Mother Teresa's life was a testament to selflessness. She devoted herself to caring for the sick, the poor, and the marginalized. Her work wasn't driven by a desire for recognition but by a profound love for humanity. Her legacy continues to inspire acts of kindness and service around the world. Practical steps to live beyond the self. 1. Find a cause you believe in, whether it's environmental protection, education, or mental health. Align your efforts with a cause that resonates with your values. 2. Practice daily acts of kindness, small, consistent gestures, like listening to someone in need or offering a helping hand, can have a profound impact. 3. Mentor others. Share your knowledge and experiences to guide and uplift others on their journeys. The spiritual warrior. A warrior's legacy extends beyond the physical. It's also about spiritual transformation, cultivating inner peace, wisdom, and compassion. This inner work not only benefits the individual but also creates a ripple effect that touches everyone around them. Story of inner transformation. Aung San Suu Kyi, a Nobel laureate and leader in Myanmar's struggle for democracy, endured years of house arrest. During this time, she practiced mindfulness and self-reflection, strengthening her spirit and resolve. Her legacy is not just her political achievements but her unwavering commitment to peace and dignity. Practical insight. Dedicate time each day to spiritual practices such as meditation, journaling, or prayer. Seek to embody values like patience, humility, and gratitude in your interactions with others. Building a legacy of values. Legacy isn't about wealth or fame, it's about how you make people feel and the values you leave behind. A warrior's legacy is built not in grand gestures but in the small, consistent actions that reflect their character. Buddhist insight. In the Sigalovada Sutta, the Buddha outlines the responsibilities of a virtuous life, honoring relationships, practicing generosity, and living with integrity. These actions create a legacy that endures beyond one's lifetime. Reflection exercise. Write down 3 values that are most important to you. Then, list one way you can embody each value in your daily life. Example. Value, kindness. O action, offer genuine compliments to those around me. Value, integrity. O action, follow through on my commitments, no matter how small. Value, growth. O action, dedicate 15 minutes daily to learning something new. The warrior's final gift. A warrior's greatest gift is the example they leave behind. They show us that it's possible to live with courage, compassion, and purpose, even in the face of adversity. Their legacy becomes a guiding light for others to follow. Story of a warrior's legacy. The life of Mahatma Gandhi continues to inspire movements for justice and nonviolence worldwide. His simple yet profound example of living by his values and standing firm in his convictions reminds us that one person can create immense change. Practical takeaway. Ask yourself, what example do I want to set for those around me? What kind of legacy will my actions leave? Key takeaways for building a warrior's legacy. 1. Align your actions with your values. Purpose comes from living in harmony with what matters most to you. 2. Embrace challenges as teachers. Use adversity to deepen your understanding and strengthen your resolve. 3. Focus on service. Legacy is built through acts of compassion and contribution. 4. Cultivate inner transformation. A peaceful, wise, and compassionate spirit is a gift to yourself and others. Closing thought for Part 8. A warrior's legacy is not measured by the battles they fight, but by the lives they touch and the love they leave behind. It is built in moments of courage, kindness, and unwavering purpose. In the words of Maya Angelou, your legacy is every life you've touched. So, the question remains, what will your legacy be? How will you shape the world? One step, one choice, one moment at a time. The path is yours to walk. Make it count. Conclusion. The warrior's journey, a life worth living. The journey of a warrior is not just a path, it's a lifelong commitment to growth, courage, and purpose. It's about facing challenges with resilience, embracing failure as a teacher, balancing action and rest, and walking each step with intention. A warrior is not defined by the battles they fight, but by the wisdom they gain and the lives they touch. Now that we've explored the warrior's path in its entirety, let's reflect on its core principles and the impact they can have on your life. The warrior's lessons, a recap. 1. Courage to confront challenges. Life will test you, but each challenge is an invitation to grow. Warriors don't run from difficulties, they rise to meet them, knowing that the fire of adversity forges strength and resilience. 2. The power of resilience. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of transformation. Warriors embrace failure, learn from it, and grow stronger with each step forward. 3. Balance between action and rest. True strength comes not from relentless action, but from harmonious balance. Warriors understand that rest is a vital part of sustaining their energy and purpose. 4. Focus on direction, not destination. Fulfillment doesn't lie in reaching a specific goal, but in walking a meaningful path. Warriors shape their direction with purpose, adapting to life's twists and turns while staying true to their values. 5. The legacy of purpose. A warrior's ultimate goal is not personal glory but contributing to something greater than themselves. Their legacy is built on the values they live by and the impact they leave on others. Why these lessons matter? In a world full of uncertainty, stress, and distractions, the warrior's mindset offers a way to navigate life with clarity and purpose. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about winning every battle, it's about showing up again and again, with the courage to grow and the humility to learn. Buddhist insight. The Buddha's teachings remind us that the path to liberation is not linear. It's a dynamic process of falling, rising, and walking forward with mindfulness and intention. Every challenge, every failure, every moment of stillness is an opportunity to deepen your understanding and cultivate inner peace. The invitation to reflect. Now, let's turn the lens inward. Take a moment to consider these questions. 1. What challenges are you facing right now? Are you avoiding them? Or are you confronting them with courage? What would it look like to face them as a warrior? 2. How do you handle failure? Do you see it as a dead end? Or as feedback for growth? What lessons can you take from your past setbacks? 3. Are you balancing action and rest? Do you make time to recharge and reflect? Or are you pushing yourself to the brink? How can you create more balance in your daily life? 4. What is your direction? Are you chasing fleeting goals? Or are you walking a path aligned with your values? What small steps can you take today to move in a meaningful direction? 5. What legacy are you building? How are your actions impacting those around you? What do you want to be remembered for? And how can you embody that today? These questions are not meant to have quick answers, they are meant to spark deeper introspection and guide your journey. Join the conversation. This isn't just my perspective, it's a collective journey. Each of us has unique experiences and insights that can inspire and uplift others. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of the warrior's path resonates most with you? How have you faced challenges, embraced failure, or found balance in your life? What legacy are you striving to create? Let's create a space of learning and growth in the comments below. Share your stories, ask questions, or offer advice for fellow warriors walking their own paths. Practical steps to start today. If you're ready to embrace the warrior's path, here are a few actionable steps to take. 1. Set a daily intention. Begin each day with a simple intention, such as, I will face today's challenges with courage and kindness. 2. Reflect on your values. Spend 10 minutes journaling about what matters most to you. Use these values to guide your actions. 3. Practice mindful rest. Dedicate time to meditation, nature walks, or any activity that replenishes your energy and focus. 4. Reframe a failure. Take one failure from your past and write down 3 lessons it taught you. 5. Take one small step toward your purpose, whether it's starting a project, reaching out to someone, or simply showing up for yourself. Take a step that aligns with your direction. The Warriors Community. You're not alone on this journey. Every warrior needs a tribe, a community of like-minded individuals who inspire, challenge, and support each other. By engaging in discussions, sharing insights, and learning from one another, we strengthen our collective path. Call to action. If this resonates with you, join our growing community of warriors. Subscribe to this channel for more insights, stories, and practical tools to help you live with courage, balance, and purpose. Let's walk this path together. supporting one another as we rise, fall, and rise again. A final thought. The warrior's journey is never easy, but it is always worth it. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. Remember, your courage is stronger than your fear. Your resilience is greater than your failures. Your purpose is bigger than any obstacle in your way. In the words of the Buddha, the way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. So, warrior, where will your heart lead you next? Take the first step, and trust that the path will unfold.